So what's going on, guys? It's your boy Sulaiman Riley, and notice how I said Sulaiman instead of Simon. Anyway, all goes back with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the life of a normal politician, and that is going to be Ronald Reagan. So let's get straight. Born on February 6, 1911 in Tampico, Illinois, Reagan grew up in humble surroundings. His father, Jack Reagan, was a shoe salesman, and his mother, Nellie, was a home worker and a devout Christian. Raised in a modest home, Reagan faced the challenges of the Great Depression, a time that shaped his worldview and gave him a deep empathy for ordinary Americans. Reagan's passion for acting started early. He attended Eureka College, where he was involved in sports and drama. But it wasn't until he became a lifeguard during the summers that he realized his ability to capture an audience. His charm, wit, and tall, handsome looks would soon land him an acting career that would span over 2 decades. Reagan's breakthrough came in 1940 with the film Newt Rockne All-American, where he played George Chip, earning the iconic line, "Win one for the Chipper." His career grew steadily, but it was his 1942 role in King's Row that truly cemented his place in Hollywood. His portrayal of a man who loses his legs in a tragic accident made him a household name. But Reagan's life was about to take an unexpected turn. In 1947, he became president of the Screen Actors Guild, where he first became involved in politics. He witnessed firsthand the struggles of workers in Hollywood and was drawn into the rising tide of the anti-communist sentiment during the Cold War. By the 1950s, Reagan had become a strong advocate for conservative causes. He opposed the influence of communism, supported the free market, and perhaps most famously began to speak out against the policies of the Democratic Party. In 1962, Reagan made the leap from Hollywood to politics, shifting from a liberal to a staunch conservative. His speeches for Republican candidates called the attention of party leaders, and in 1966, he ran for governor of California. In a stunning victory, Reagan won the governorship, beginning a political career that would define the rest of his life. As governor of California from 1967 to 1975, Reagan made his mark with bold conservative policies, including tax cuts, opposition to student protests, and a strong stance on law and order. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. His support for the Vietnam War and some of his more controversial decisions made him a decisive figure. Still, Reagan's popularity soared, setting the stage for his national political ambition. In 1976, Reagan ran for president but lost the Republican nomination to Gerald Ford. Yet his loss didn't deter him. 4 years later, in 1980, he ran again, this time winning the Republican nomination and in a landslide victory, defeating incumbent James Carter. On January 20th, 1981, Ronald Reagan was sworn in as the 40th President of the United States. His presidency would go on to be defined by optimism, a commitment to a strong military, and a firm belief in individual liberty and limited government. Reagan's economic policies, known as Reaganomics, focused on tax cuts, deregulation, and a free market economy. He believed that reducing the tax burden on businesses and individuals would lead to economic growth, job creation, and high living standards. While controversial at the time, his policies would have a lasting impact on the US economy. Internationally, Reagan's presidency was defined by his fierce stance against the Soviet Union. His famous challenge to Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev to tear down this wall in Berlin symbolized his commitment to ending the Cold War. His aggressive military spending, coupled with diplomatic negotiations, would ultimately contribute to the peaceful end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Reagan was re-elected in 1984, winning one of the largest landslides in US history. But in his second term, his presidency faced challenges, including the Iran-Contra scandal, where members of his administration secretly sold arms to Iran and used the proceeds to fund Contra rebels in Nicaragua. Despite this, Reagan's popularity remained high, and he left office in 1989 with a reputation as one of America's most admired presidents. After leaving office, Reagan retired to his home in California, but his life was far from over. In 1994, he revealed that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a diagnosis that would affect him for the rest of his life. He passed away on June 5th, 2004, at the age of 93.
Ronald Reagan's legacy is still debated to this day. For many, he remains a symbol of American optimism, a leader who helped restore the nation's confidence after the turbulence of the 1970s. His strong leadership during the Cold War, his economic policies, and his commitment to the values of freedom and democracy continue to shape political discourse in America. Whatever your perspective on his policies, there's no denying that Ronald Reagan's life was one of transformation. From a small-town boy to a Hollywood star, to the governor of California, and ultimately to the President of the United States. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance, belief in one's ideals, and the American dream.
So yeah, guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and thank you guys for watching. مع السلامة. نشوفكم في المقطع الجاي.
I want more life for my Drake shit, and I'm getting tired of all the same shit. I wanna see my family, wanna see my friends have been slept off, like my name says, and I'm pretty far from